Hello everybody, welcome back to Math 1314, Chapter 3, Section 3, Homework Assignments. Alright, let's look at the first one. Use the graph with a quadratic function f of x equals a x minus h squared plus k to find the vertex. So the vertex, axis of symmetry, and m of the function. Alright, so the vertex is the lowest point. So it's, or in this case, it's the lowest point because it opens up. So it's -1 to -3 and up 1. So the vertex is at -3, 1. Actually, I think they gave it to us. The axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is x equals negative. Remember, it's only the x value of the vertex. What is the minimum and maximum value of the function? Since it's opening up, that's minimum. It's minimum at 1. Alright, so let's look at the next one. So that's what they gave us a graph. Now what do we have here? Consider the quad function below. Find the vertex, axis symmetry, determine whether the maximum minimum, and find that value. So we have to find the maximum minimum is the vertex. So when we solve A, we got the C value also. Graph the function. Alright, so let's see here. We have x squared minus 10x plus 24. So that equals 0. And I'll put it down here so I don't have to waste time. So we have x squared minus 10x plus 24. So let's complete the square to find the vertex. So we have x squared minus 10x. Move the 24 to the other side. Now we have to add b over 2 squared to both sides. So 10 over 2 squared. Left side we have x squared minus 10x. Only do inside the parentheses, so 10 divided by 2 is 5 squared. On the right hand side, work it out. 10 over 2 is 5, squared is 25. 25 minus 24 is 1. So completing the square, whatever's under the squares, so it's x and 5, and the first sign equals 1. Move the 1 over, so it's minus 1 equals 0. So now we're in the form ax minus h squared plus k, where the vertex is hk. So the vertex in our case is at 5, -1. The axis of symmetry is always the x value of the vertex. So it's x equals 5. Once it's in the form of an equation. Since the leading term is positive, we know it opens up. The parabola opens upwards and has a minimum value. Well, the minimum value is the y value, is at -1. So that's the first one, our first two. Let's look at this one, number 3. Pretty much the same thing. Find the vertex, axis symmetry, determine maximum minimum value, and graph the function. Oops, I never graphed the function. Oh, my bad. So the vertex is at 5, -1. Okay, right now we don't have the with this method, we don't have the X-intercepts, but we can find it. We have x minus 5 squared minus 1 set equals 0. Solve for x. So x minus 5 squared, move the 1 over, so we add 1 to both sides. Square root both sides. So those cancel, so we have x minus 5 equals plus or minus. The square root of 1 is just 1. And add 5 to both sides. So x equals 5 plus or minus 1, which means 5 plus 1, so x equals 6. 5 minus 1, so x equals 4 also. So these are my x-intercepts. We can find more points, but that's the graph. To make it really nice, I'd find, plug in 7 or 8. Whatever I have here, since it's, let's say it's 6. Let's say at 8 it's 6, which is there. Since 8 is 3 to the right, up to 6, the other side would be 3 to the left, up to 6, because it's symmetric. That's what they call it, the axis of symmetry. It's at that line there, the axis of symmetry. Both sides are equal. All right. Let's look at this one. So we have 2x squared plus 10x, move the 11 over to the other side. So it's negative 11. Have to divide everybody by 2 first. So we have x squared plus 5x equals negative 11 over 2. Add b over 2, so 5 over 2 squared to both sides. Let me put that on a bigger piece of paper. This is Chapter 3, Section 3. Question 3. So we have f of x equals 2x squared plus 10x plus 11. Set it equal to 0, so we're in standard form. So we'll have x's on one side, move the constant to the other side. So we'll have 2x squared plus 10x. Since we have to move it over, we have to subtract 11. So we have negative 11. All I did was move it over, subtract x is on the left side. I need to have a coefficient of 1, so I divide everybody by 2. X squared plus 5x equals a negative 11 over 2. This is b, so I add b over 2 squared to both sides. So 5 over 2 squared. On the left side, whatever's under the squares go in the parentheses and the first sign. On the right hand side, we have to work it out. So we have negative 11 over 2. This squares both of those, so it's 5 squared is 25 over 2. 2 squared is 4. So use the butterfly method. 4 times negative 11 is negative 44, plus 2 times 5 is 50, over 4 times 2 is 8. 50 minus 44 is 6. 6 over 8. Simple. They both have a 2 in common. So it's 3 over 4. Alright, so we have both sides. Remember, in order to tell me what the vertex is, I have to have it in this form, where the vertex is the HK. So I've got to move that over again. So I have x plus 5 over 2 squared. Move that over so it becomes minus 3 over 4. So the vertex is at negative 5 over 2, comma, negative 3 over 4. 3 over 2. Where did I get 8? It should be 4. It should be 2. Yeah, it should be, because 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 44, 50. Yeah. Where did I go wrong there? I got a brain fart. Okay, so it's negative 44 plus 50. That makes it a positive 6. 2 times 4 is 8. But if we did it the other way, we had negative 44 over 4 plus 50 over 4. It should be 3 over 2. I don't know what's wrong with the butterfly. But anyway, that's the vertex. So the vertex is negative 5 over 2, negative 3 over 2. Axis symmetry is x equals negative 5 over 2. And the parabola, since 2 is positive, it opens up. So it has a minimum. It has a minimum at the value negative 3 over 2. Alright, so let's look at the vertex. It's at negative 5 over 2, which is 2.5, negative 2.5, which is here, down 1.5. Let's look at let's take this equation, x plus 5 over 2 squared minus 3 over 4 equals 0. Solve for x. So we have to move this with add 3 over 4 to both sides. So we have x plus 5 over 2 squared equals positive 3 over 4. Get rid of the square, so we square root both sides. x plus 5 over 2 equals plus or minus square root of 3 over square root of 4, which becomes square root of 3 over 2. And we subtract 5 over 2 from both sides. Negative 5 over 2 plus or minus square root of 3 over 2. Since we have 2's on the bottom, negative 5 plus square root of 3, comma, negative 5 minus square root of 3. So square root of 3 is less than square root of 4 is 2. So it's less than 2, it's greater than 1. Let's call it 1.5. So 5 minus 1.5 divided by 2 is approximately 1.75. Approximately right there. And the other side, negative 5 minus 1.5 is negative 6.5 is 3 1/4 approximately, so it's about there. So again, you have to use calculators for these. This is what the graph looks like. Sorry about that. Let's go to the next one. Find the vertex and everything like that. Okay, since this is negative, we know it opens down. So we're going to have a maximum. So we're going to have a maximum value. We know that for sure. So let's look what we have here. We have negative x squared minus 6x minus 2 equals 0. Well, let's see if we can factor this. No, can't. But what times what is 2 and you subtract and get 6? Can't work. So, alright. Well, first off, because that's a negative, we got to change everybody's sign. Because remember, the coefficient has to be 1. So x squared plus 6x, move the 2 to the other side, becomes negative 2. Add b over 2, which is 6 divided by 2 squared both sides. X squared plus 6x. Only do the left side inside, so it's 6 divided by 2 is 3 squared. So it's negative 2 plus 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So the right hand side is equal to 7. The left hand side, whatever is under the squared, and the first sign. So x plus 3, all that squared. So if we move the 7 over, we get x plus 3 squared minus 7 equals 0. Now we can tell me what the vertex is. Negative 3, negative 7. Okay, move it over, divide everybody by negative 1. Change everybody's signs. Just make sure everything's right. Oh, yeah. Okay, what happens here, because we had a coefficient here, a negative coefficient. That means, okay, we still have to have a negative one in front. So this whole equation here, because it still has to point down, right here, our equation is pointing up. So because it started off as a negative, we have to put the negative back in there. So it's negative x plus 3 squared plus 7. Because you distribute both of those. Yeah, so the vertex is at negative 3, positive 7. Yeah, because it has to open down. See, everything else is the same. Since we divided by negative 1, we have to put that negative 1 back at the end. We have to put it back somewhere because we have to have the leading coefficient has to be negative. We just went ahead and solved it all. And once we finished it, then we put the negative back in there. And there we have it. Because we have to have a negative here, because it has to point down. It's just easier for us to deal with positives. We'll make it negative at the end. So we change both of these signs. Yeah, notice inside the parenthesis doesn't change. Only outside changes. So the vertex is at negative 3, positive 7. The axis of symmetry is at x equals negative 3. Because it opens down, we have a maximum, and the value is at 7. So at negative 3, 1, 2, 3, up to 7. We have a dot there. Let's solve that equation, because remember we still need the x-intercepts. So in order to find the x-intercept, we set y equal to 0 and solve for x. So we have negative x plus 3 squared. Move the 7 to the other side, becomes a negative 7. Because that's negative, we have to change the signs. Square root both sides. So x plus 3 equals plus or minus square root of 7. And subtract 3 from both sides. So x equals negative 3 plus or minus square root of 7. Negative 3 plus radical 7. Negative 3 minus radical 7. Yeah, you can use calculators on these, but radical 7, because we know that square root of 9 is 4. We know the square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 7 is closer to here, so it's about, no, square root of 9 is 3, I'm sorry. Square root of 9 is 3, square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 7 is closer to 9, so it's probably around 2.7. So, negative 3 plus 2.7 is approximately 0.3. So, negative 0.3. So, it's about right there. Negative, so negative 3 minus 2.7, approximately negative 5.7. 5.7 there. Again, you use calculators to draw better pictures in mind. All right, let's do the next one. Find the correct graph with this information. Let's look what we have here. Remember, it has to have this form. The function. So let's look at A. A is between 0 and 1, so that means it opens wide. A is positive, so it opens up. So that means these two are gone. The vertex is at HK, which means it's at -2, 8. That's the wrong direction, so it has to be B. True or false? This function has a minimum value. Remember, minimum is there. It's the lowest point. But that only happens when your leading coefficient is greater than 0. Here it's -8, so that's false. Again, here A is positive. So we know A is positive, so it opens up. The vertex is at -1, 0. It shifts horizontally left 1 space. So let's see what it says. Obtained by translating the graph unit 1 right. False. It's positive, so it moves 1 left. Alright, I like this one because now we're going through everything we've discussed since day 1. Given the function, find the vertex, A. Determine with the maximum and minimum value. Find the value. Find the range, increasing, decreasing. Let's see this equation. Okay, for the shortcut, let's use the formula. The vertex is at -b over 2a, comma, whatever that is, plug it back in the function. Alright, so A is 4, B is 8, C is -96. So -b over 2a. It's -8 over 2 times 4. -8, 2 times 4 is 8, so it equals -1. So the axis of symmetry is -1. Now if we take this value, plug it back into our equation, -1 squared is 1 times 4 is 4. 8 times -1 is -8. And then minus 96. So 4 minus 8 is -4. So that equals -100. So our vertex is at -1, -100. Leading coefficient 4 is bigger than 0, so it opens up. Therefore, we have a minimum. Parabola opens up, has a minimum value of -100. Remember, it's just the y value. The range of this function, since it's at -1, -100, and it opens up, the range is from -100 up. we can include. So it's a bracket. On what interval is it decreasing? It's decreasing from negative infinity to negative 1. That's increasing. I mean, it's decreasing. Decreasing from negative infinity to negative 1. It's increasing from negative 1 to positive infinity. It's from this side on, it's going up. Right. That's it. Good luck doing your homework there.